I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who does lead and rule well. Salutations and shalom to all you hopeful elect Akim pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom also to you Akim and Aqua for listening and learning, preparing yourselves here in these last days. All right, and to the entire household of faith, fighting this good fight of faith, I want to say shalom. This is your brother Quad from the DC camp. Come back at you with another lesson. And I'm titled this one, Survival of the Faithful. All right. There will be no rapture. You know, that's what motivated me to think about this topic. I was watching this video from the priest in Dallas. You got Genesis, them break-offs from Sakari. They've been going into going too deep all the time, man. And then they get themselves caught up. And they're too proud to go through the proper channels. But anyways, they talking about essentially teaching the rapture, man, as if the plagues ain't gonna come until after Jake is brought up out of there. And if I'm not mistaken, I gotta watch it again. I'll just play this little piece.
Hands over the number of his name, stands on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. So what does this mean? This means that the elect are going to be delivered out of the beast. As it says, the mark of the beast that implements the mark of the beast is America. That they're going to be delivered, that's them standing on the sea of glass, before the plagues are released. Notice, it said they're standing on...
Now you heard that. He said that the elect out of America will be delivered into the chariots before the plagues are released. Now, mind you,
it almost sounded like okay, But this is the thing. I don't even understand where that's even coming from. But it that wouldn't even make sense. It wouldn't even make sense. Okay, because first of all, the elect have to be tried as gold, man. We have to go through the trials. All right. So that we're going to be delivered out of. Matter of fact, I'll just get it. Because you mentioned the mark of the beast. That's not even one of the things I was going to get. Give me 1 second. This is Revelation 3 and verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell on the earth. So the Lord's going to have to keep us from that hour of temptation, man. The Lord's going to have to uphold us. This is why, let me go back. This is why I'm saying survival of the faithful, and which is it's a play on words from survival of the fittest, where, strength, your genetics, is going to play a role. Now the faith is going to play a role, man. You having the faith in the true power, the true beliefs. Okay. But Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, that's talking about you enduring and being steadfast. Remember, you got to stand so stiffly for the name of the Lord, man. So you're going to have to go through certain things. It's going to be, you got to be patient, meaning you're going to have to persevere, through certain persecutions. Remember the scripture says, them spoiling, destroying them that fear Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. What you think that is going to happen when, because back in 2020 with the juice, that little mini trial, okay, that which a lot of people failed at, okay, they started really like anybody that didn't take it is the problem. You know what I mean? That hate is going to be heightened a lot more when you not going along with this system. Okay, that's why I said that they have power to they give power to the image of the beast. that as many that shouldn't take it should be killed, man. What do you mean that the plagues? The plagues ain't just the missiles, okay? And that's what we're gonna really have to be delivered out of. The Lord gonna be guiding us and keeping us up until then, you know. Like I said, if He ain't cut them days short, no flesh shall be saved. So, like, what are you saying? And don't, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they said something like the 2/3 wasn't even gonna be destroyed. But I gotta watch it again. Not at that point, you know. But right there, He said the elect is gonna be saved, you know, from that. You know, but we got to go through that trial, and the mark, when that happens, that's the hour of temptation, man. You know, we still got to go through Jacob's trouble and all that, man. So we're gonna have to remain faithful even with that. And you go through different scriptures, and you see when they had to be faithful. Yeah, they had to be faithful during those times, man. You know, you got the Maccabees. You don't go to them times. The book of Daniel. Yeah, He said He's going to keep us from the hour of temptation. So meaning He's going to protect us. He's going to be a guard, a safeguard into us, man. You know, and that's going to be the tribulation. That's going to be a testing period that we have to go through. You know, and the purpose of that is to test people's faith and their loyalty. And that's what the Lord is going to do. You know, but when I went to the Google AI, when I typed in survival of the faithful, you know, that's because I was looking for this image. It says the ability to maintain one's faith and beliefs, even in the face of adversity. And that's going to be a key factor in enduring and persevering, man. Because you have lack of faith, it's going to leave you vulnerable and exposed because the Lord is not going to protect you. Okay? What scripture is that? I believe it's so maybe the Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Give me a second. Which one was it? Just had it earlier. Let me see. I'm gonna have to look it up again. Oh, it is Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Okay. Well, that just leads me to, I'm gonna start at the top. Sirach 2:1, it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make haste in a time of trouble." And see, we have to do these videos. What the heck? The thing just froze. What the hell? We have to do these videos, man, because these people are they making you think that it's going to be peace, you know, and it's not going to be no peace, man. All right. It says, cleave unto him. It says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. All right. Because we gotta believe on until the end. As the scriptures say, he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Okay. So we got to make it to the very end. If you don't make it to the end, all the labors and things that you've done up to this point, it's not going to matter, man. You know, let me get that real quick. This is Matthew 24:13. It says, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. All right. And then when you read like the other gospels, like Mark 13:13, it says you're going to be hated of all men for the Lord's name's sake, man. That's when you're going to be standing stiffly for him, man. All right. But anyways, back in Sirach, the 2nd chapter, it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Yeah, because we're going to be in a lower estate than we are in now. Okay. You're not going to be able to, easily accept, be comfortable in the house, maybe access food. You may be in a prison. You don't know. But it says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So we got to be accepted of him. And the way that's happened is the furnace of adversity, which is why he's going to bring that hour. It says, believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy and go not aside lest ye fall. That's another lesson I'm going to get into, waiting on the Lord. It says, ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. I'll keep going. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and save in the time of affliction. So he gonna provide a way for you to escape, right? As the scriptures say, But here's the point that I wanted. I just had a point that escaped me, as I was reading. Anyways, it might come back to me. Verse 12 says, woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands and sinners that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted. Here's the point. For he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. All right. So if you don't believe on the Lord, remember, as the scriptures say, without faith it's impossible to please him. You got to be pleasing in the sight of the Lord for him to defend you, because that's the only thing that's going to save you. He got to keep us, man, from this. But condition your minds to that, because it's going to happen. You got to be found faithful. It says, woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? All right. So we got to keep his ways, man. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. Yeah, so we can't take that MOTB, man. You're not going to get away from it. He's not going to deliver you. What do you people think like the elect is special. Don't get me wrong, but we don't know who is of the elect at the moment. Truthfully, we can speculate based upon what's going on now, but when this trial happens, many people gonna fail, man. And you're gonna have to go through that test. You're not escaping that test, okay? They that fear the Lord will seek which is well pleasing unto him, which is well pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law. All right. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. And that's what Susanna did. No, that's what I was going to say. I believe it was in the book of Judith, where they pretty much put a time period on the Lord. If he don't deliver us in this amount of days, then we're going to go and give in. Nah, we supposed to be thou faithful. What's that? Let me get that real quick. Oh, snap. Spelled it wrong. This is Revelation 2 and verse 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So even unto death, you must be faithful. But again, you go into them stories of the Maccabees, the 6th chapter, the 7th chapter. Beautiful stories, man. Some of my favorite stories. All right. They all good. Okay. But let's keep going. What else do I want to get? All right. Did I get the other one that I wanted? Oh, just a real quick reference, man, because if you read Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, it talks about, that's the thoughts of the wicked, and survival of the fittest, where it talks about, strength and all that. That's what they want, that's what they rely on, the strength, their sword, and strength being the law of justice, man. But that's not going to save us. And riches, none of that shit going to save us, man. Let me get that. Dang. Hold on. That's not it? Give me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Why didn't it pop up? Okay. This is Zechariah. That's weird. All right. I got it. This is Zechariah 4 and verse 6. It says, "Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, This is the word of Yahweh unto Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might nor by power, that's why, but by my spirit, saith Yahweh of hosts." And that's how we're gonna make it, man. Just straight up through the Lord. He's the only way. All right. Now let me get Second Esdras 9. I'm gonna get a few in the Apocrypha, man. Apocrypha is a very important book. Matter of fact, before I do that, I'm gonna go in order. I'm gonna get Second Esdras 6. Okay. Esdras 6. And I just want to see where I want to start at. I'm gonna start at 22, going into some of these plagues, man, that Jake want to try to avoid. It says, "And suddenly shall the Second Esdras 6 in verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid." Just like when in the book of Daniel, when that sound, and they was ordered to worship that image. It's gonna be something similar, man. And at that time shall friends fight one another like enemies. Like imagine when they declare that you got to take that MOTB or you get a certain amount of time. All right, you got to get, like Apostle Hall said, you got a couple months and then the MOTB is mandatory. You got to have it or you can't get anything. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. You think you're going to avoid that? Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So you got to remain from all that. You got to be able to, you're going to have to endure that, It says, "And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning." All right. So again, all this stuff has to take place before you getting beamed up, and changed, and then watching it. We're going to have to, so are those not plagues? That's what I want to know. Okay. Now you go to the very next chapter. And before we get into the kingdom of heaven, I'm going to go to 2 Esdras 7 verse 6. It says, "There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water." All right. So this is going into that entrance, man. Which is, it said it's narrow, right? Which lets you know that it's going to be difficult. Okay. It's going to be difficult to attain salvation, man. It's going to take effort. It's gonna take discipline. You're gonna have to be, the wisdom gonna have to be with you, man. You know, it says set in a dangerous place to fall. You know, so temptations, different obstacles we're gonna have to go through. That's there to try to lead you astray. You know, but then it says fire and water. You know, that's two different dangers, man. Trials, temptations. You know, which is designed to rid us of impurities, and then you got the water, which is also like a flood, chaos. You know what I'm saying? Overwhelming. You know, different challenges, man. You know, so it's perils on all sides. That's the only way to get into the kingdom. You have to be tried before this, man. And the only ones that's going to survive is the ones that the faithful whom had it in the womb, man. You know, and no matter how many scriptures you know, all that faith is more important. You know, you gotta truly be able to have that faith and, you know, that relationship built up with the Lord. Because it's only, like I said, it's only one path. It's only through your house shy. And he said that we're gonna have to go through it, man. He told them, you know, you're gonna have to go through that, be baptized with the baptism that he's baptized with, that fire, man. Okay. Let me keep going. It says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If the city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? See? How you going to receive the inheritance if you don't go through it, man? You can't just, you're not going to slip into the kingdom, man. You got to earn this. Okay? You're going to have to earn it. I'm going to jump down. Verse 12, it says, then were the interests of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. All right. So this is how it's going to be. It's going to be like that in order to get into the kingdom, man. All right. It's not going to be easy, man. You see? So just prepare your minds for it, man. You ain't no escape. All right. It's the same, that interest that I was talking about in Matthew, the 7th chapter, you know, but you're going to have to be faithful. You're going to have to be obedient, man. All right. Not too many people going to be able to go through this righteous path and remain faithful. Okay. And I think I had one more in Esdras. Let me see. No. What I'm in? 7? Go. Turned off again. This is background music. It keeps freezing. What the hell is going on here? I don't understand. Interrupting my flow. Let me go to. Let me see if I want something from 8. No, I'm gonna go straight to the 9th chapter. All right, this is 2nd Esdras 9, and I'm going to read verse 7. It says, and every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by works and by faith whereby he believed shall be preserved from the sad perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. All right. And then it says, then shall they be in pitiful case which have now abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Now, hold up. So again, but I want to harp on that word preserved. Shall be preserved from the sad prayer. So you got to be preserved, you know, but you still got to go through it. That's why, that's the one in Esdras. Oh yeah, I'll get it. Then shall they know. Oh, come on. Boiling. 2nd Esdras 16. In verse 70. Well, I'm going to start straight up 70. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. All right. It says, hear, O my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. All right. So, yeah, we definitely going to have to go through it, man. And the Lord is going to deliver us out of it. But we have to be, again, it keep mentioning, they shall be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. What's the other one? Where is he? Where is it? Man, hold up. I might have already got it. I wrote it down, but okay. It is Wisdom of Solomon 3. But I got the second chapter. Oh, okay. I wrote it somewhere else. I wrote it twice even. It's tripping. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon 3 and verse 5. It says, and having been a little chastened, they shall be greatly rewarded. For the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. As gold in the furnace have he tried them and received them as a burnt offering. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. All right. But ultimately, again, we gotta be tried and be made that like that gold, man. You know, and that's when the people gonna notice it, who the Lord was actually preserving, who he was dealing with. Make it, you know, some men's spiritual powers, you know, during these times, man. You know, but no matter what, you know, we gotta remain faithful the entire time. This is Sirach 34:12. It says, I was oftentimes in danger of death, yet I was delivered because of these things. The spirit of those that fear the Lord shall live, for their hope is in him that saveth them. Whoso feareth the Lord shall not be afraid, for he is their hope. For the eyes of the Lord are upon them that love him. He is their mighty protection and strong stay, and a defense from the heat, and a cover from the sun at noon, and preservation from stumbling, and in help from falling. All right, so the Lord gonna be with us in those times, but we gotta be faithful unto him. You know, and that's the only way you really gonna be able to survive, man. Any other way you go is not gonna work. You know, I'll get one more. No. I'll go back to second Esdras, then I'll get one more. This is second Esdras 15. This chapter is hard. It goes into the plagues, man. You know? But I want to get straight to the point. Second Esdras 16 verse. Read this chapter though. Second Esdras 15 verse 26. It says, the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. So yeah, if that was something that they said as well, you know, in terms of the 2/3, they're gonna have to go through it. You know, not being just, you know, you getting put on the other side to be judged in front of the Lord, man, at Judgment Day. You know, nah, they're gonna have to, you know, a lot of people what do you think the 2/3 are, man? You know? But anyways, again, like I said, I gotta watch that part again. Yeah, I'll get Isaiah 41 and I'm gonna wrap it up. Where do I want to get? All right, I'm gonna start at 8. It says, Isaiah 41 verse 8, it says, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee by thy right hand of my righteousness. By the right hand of my righteousness. All right. And then the uphold, tamak. Thamak, Salakia. Thamak. It says to grasp, hold, support, attain, lay hold of, hold fast. All right. So that which we got, man, don't let nobody take this away, man. That faith is going to be the key. Okay. So the faithful, that's what we need. So Lord's willing, that was edifying. To the next lesson, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. To the next one, I want to say shalom.